Namaste. Hamisha Kushaho Bhutia. I am JVN Dr. Vishal Saxena, Associate Professor in Mathematics, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. Today I am going to discuss about the module Designing the Methodology, and this module is a part of the course Research Methodology and Biostatistics taken from the program B Pharmacy 8th semester under the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science. So first we see the topic of sample size determination. The sample size determination is an act of choosing the number of observations or replicates to include in a statistical sample. The sample size is an important feature of empirical study in which the goal is to make inferences about a population from a sample. In practice, the sample size used in a study is usually determined based on the cost, time or the convenience of collecting the data and the need for it to offer sufficient statistical power. In complicated studies, there may be several different sample sizes. So we can take example, in a stratified survey, there would be different sizes for each stratum. Each in a census data is sought for an entire population. Hence, the intended sample size is equal to the population. In experimental design, where a study may be divided into different treatment groups, there may be different sample sizes for each group. Sample sizes may be chosen in several different ways. So first, using experience, small samples through sometimes unavoidable can result in wide confidence intervals and risk of errors in statistical hypothesis testing. Next way is using a target variance for an estimate to be derived from the sample eventually obtained. That is, if a high precision is required, narrow confidence interval, this translates to a low target variance of the estimator. And in the another way, using a target for the power of a statistical test to be applied once the sample is selected. And next is using a confidence level, that is, the larger the required confidence level, the larger the sample size given a constant precision requirement. Sample sizes may be evaluated by the quality of the resulting estimates. For example, if a population is being estimated, one may wish to have the 95% confidence interval be less than 0.06 units wide. Alternatively, sample size may be assessed based on the power of a hypothesis test. Next is power of a study. Power is the probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when in fact it is false. Power is the probability of making a correct decision to reject the null hypothesis when the null hypothesis is false. Next is power is the probability that a test of significance will pick up on an effect that is present. And power is the probability that a test of significance will detect a deviation from the null hypothesis. Should such a deviation exist, and the power is the probability of avoiding a type second error. So next we take the primary factors affecting the power. What are the factors which affect the power can be taken as the significance level or the alpha level. Second is sample size, and next is variability or variance in the measured response variable, and next is magnitude of the effect of the variable. So these are the primary factors which affect the power. Next we take about a report. So what is a report? In academia there is some overlap between reports and the essays, and the two words are sometimes used interchangeably, but reports are more likely to be needed for the business, scientific and the technical subjects and in the workplace. Report may contain some or all of the following elements: a description of sequence of events or a situation. Second is some interpretation of the significance of these events or the situation, whether solely your own analysis or informed by the views of others. Always carefully referred, of course. See our page on academic referencing for more information. Next is an evaluation of the facts or the results of research, and the next point is discussion of the likely outcomes of future courses of action, and the recommendations as to a course of action, and finally the conclusions. So these are the points contained in the reports, or these are some elements which are consisted in the reports. Note: all of these elements will not be essential in every report. Some of the elements may be neglected or may be removed in some reports. Now next is cohort study. So next we are taking the cohort study. A cohort study is a particular form of longitudinal study that samples a cohort, a group of people who share defining the characteristics, typically those who experienced a common event in a selected period, such as birth or the graduation, performing a cross section at intervals through time. It is a type of panel study where the individuals in the panel share a common characteristic. So cohort study represents one of the fundamental designs of epidemiology, which are used in research in the fields of medicine, nursing, psychology, social science, and in any field reliant on difficult to reach answers that are based on evidence, that means statistics. In medicine, for instance, while clinical trials are used primarily for assessing the safety of newly developed pharmaceuticals before they are approved for sale, epidemiological analysis on how risk factors affect the incidence of disease is often used to identify the causes of disease in the first place, and to help provide preclinical justification for the plausibility of protective factors treatments. Now, applications. In medicine, a cohort study is often undertaken to obtain evidence to try to refute the existence of a suspected association between cause and effect. Failure to refute a hypothesis often strengthens confidence in it. Crucially, the cohort is identified before the appearance of the disease under investigation. The study groups follow a group of people who do not have the disease for a period of time and see who develops the disease, new incidence. Next is observational studies. Observational studies are a fundamental part of epidemiological research. They are called observational studies because the investigator observes individuals without manipulation or intervention. This is in contrast to randomized controlled trials where investigators to intervene and look at the effects of the intervention on an outcome. Although randomized controlled trials are useful in determining causal relationship between treatments and outcomes, there are often instances where randomized controlled trials are not appropriate, so observational studies are needed and required. Next is experimental studies. Experimental studies rely on the detection of the effects on an intervention. The design is a special application of the case control study where the exposure is planned and the design prospective. The assumption is that random allocation of subjects to the active intervention or the placebo arms of a study will provide a balanced design with potential confounders arising by chance with about equal frequency in the study arms. An experimental study is the preferred means of hypothesis testing in most laboratory settings, and relevant methods are subject to continuing improvements. In human nutrition, the experimental study is most often a randomized placebo-controlled trial of the possible benefits of the dietary manipulation or the supplementation. Now next we are going to take the topic of clinical trials. So when a medical company needs to evaluate a treatment, they use a clinical trial. Clinical trials use volunteers to participate in research so as to get detailed answers to health matters. Clinical trials are the best method to find ways to prevent disease and have proven to be the most suitable way to quickly and harmlessly find therapies for many different medical conditions. Different types of clinical trials are used for different studies. Four of the most popular are: so first is finding potential uses for treatments already in use or examining the feasibility of new treatments. Second is possibilities for prevention of illness. Third is for those with critical health disorders, finding ways to enhance their life experience. And the fourth is innovative diagnostic and screening procedures. Next, we take phases of clinical trials. A clinical trial is only done when there is a good reason to believe that a new test or treatment may improve the care of patients. Before clinical trials, tests and treatments are assessed in pre-clinical research. Now phase 0. Trials are the first clinical trials done. In phase 0, trials are the first clinical trials done among the people. They aim to learn how a drug is processed in the body and how it affects the body. In these trials, a very small dose of a drug is given to about 10 to 15 people. Now next is phase 1. Phase 1 trials aim to find the best dose of a new drug with the fewest side effects. The drug will be tested in a small group of 15 to 30 patients. Doctors start by giving very low doses of the drug to a few patients. Higher doses are given to the other patients until side effects become too severe or the desired effect is seen. The drug may help patients, but phase 1 trials are to test a drug safety. If a drug is found to be safe enough, it can be tested in a phase 2 clinical trial. Now phase 2. Phase 2 trials further assess safety as well as if a drug works. The drug is often tested among patients between a specific type of cancer. Phase 2 trials are done in larger groups of patients compared to phase 1 trials. Often new combinations of drugs are tested. Patients are closely watched to see if the drug works. Now phase 3. Phase 3 trials compare a drug to test the standard of care drug. These trials assess the side effects of each drug and which drug works better. Phase 3 trials enroll 100 or more patients. Often these trials are randomized. This means that patients are put into a treatment group called trial arms by chance. Randomization is needed to make sure that the people in all trial arms are alike. These lets scientists know that the results of the clinical trials are due to the treatments and not differences between the groups. Now phase 4. Phase 4 trials test new drug approved by the FDA. The drug is tested in several hundreds or the thousands of patients, which allows for better research on short-lived and long-lasting side effects and safety. For instance, some rare side effects may only be found in large groups of people. Doctors can also learn more about how well the drug works and if it is helpful when used with other treatments. So this session is powered by Digital Version 2, Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. I hope all you are satisfied with digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve your problems and doubts. With this, I conclude today's lecture. Thank you.